What is up, everybody? Welcome in to the Fantasy Tap. My name is Michael, and John, this is John.
I am John. What's going on, Mike? How are we doing today?
Sometimes you're John. I am doing great. Ready to talk some fantasy football, baby. Week 4.
Yeah. Let's do it. Must starts, must sits. We got some streams for you guys, and then we're going to be doing our Thursday night breakdown. Before we jumped into this, make sure you guys are liking and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss anything, especially our live stream this Sunday. Make sure you guys catch that. Know who to start, know who to sit. Catch yourselves up on the inactives and see who you can fade to if your guy is out. So
yes,
make sure you guys are doing that.
And that will be live from the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. We're going to the Dolphins game, baby. That's going to be at 11:30 this Sunday Eastern. So make sure you tune in. It's going to be a good one. Also, real quick, want to give a quick shout out to Ryan H. He's been repping us pretty hard lately. Thank you, sir. We really appreciate it. Sharing us to all his friends. If y'all could do the same, we truly appreciate it. Thank you, Ryan. But let's jump in to our must starts. John, hit us with your first one.
Alrighty. Let's start off with the quarterback like always, and let's get off the chalk a little bit. I'm going to tell you guys you need to be starting Taylor Heineke this week. It's going to be going up against the Atlanta Falcons, and we know that we love to target the Falcons whenever we get a cheap shot at them. So I'm going to be taking the Washington football team.
Hey, watch your mouth.
To be beating up on the Falcons this weekend, who have been allowing points, not only leading the league in passing offense as well as rushing offense allowed against them. I think Washington's semi-poor defensive play so far this season allows it to turn into a shootout between Atlanta, but I do think that Washington definitely wins this game. So we're going to be seeing Taylor Heineke be used all over the field, and we saw his mobility really take hold this weekend with his ability to get into the end zone using those two little feet that move him forward.
Yep. Yeah, no, I like that pick. I like the pick. Actually, I am starting Taylor Heineke over Ryan Tannehill, who is somebody we'll be talking about a little bit later on. So I do like that pick, John. Great pick there. My pick, my quarterback is going to be the man himself, Matthew Stafford, going up against those Cardinals. Okay. They allowed the Vikings, who's a very good offense, but I would say not as good as the Rams offense. They let him put up 33 points on them. They're going to be in LA. Arizona's been actually pretty good against the quarterback. However, they haven't played Matt Stafford yet. They played Ryan Tannehill, who got rocked 5-6 times for sacks. Week 1, a Titans offense who just was not there. They had, some would say, and I would be one of those guys, no game plan going into that game. They didn't give it to King Henry. They didn't do anything. And then last week they played a rookie quarterback who has thrown a crap ton of interceptions. I think it's going to be a great game for Matt Stafford and the Rams coming off of a very big win against the Tampa Bay Bucks. I don't think there's going to be a hangover game because, to be honest, they've got to bring it to these Cardinals. And to do so, they're going to have to score points. We know that Cardinals offense is very potent. So, Matt Stafford, you are my quarterback start of the week.
I love it. It's another game that should be a high-scoring game. Both these quarterbacks have been absolutely tearing it up. Matt Stafford loving LA so far this year. So, keep it up. Yes. Jumping over to the running backs, though, I'm going to be going with David Montgomery. Justin Fields coming into the offense last week, and as Mike predicted...
Sorry, John, say that again?
Justin
Fields?
You broke up. Oh, I said we saw Justin Fields come into the offense last week and look absolutely terrible. Mike predicted it pretty well. The Browns did not let him get get rolling whatsoever. This week, going against the Lions, though, I think that David Montgomery is going to be someone that can take over for the lack of Justin Fields' play and will be able to get a lot of points. They've given up 278 rushing yards so far this season. David Montgomery has been someone that we've been seeing act as a I don't even want to call him a blanket or any sort of safety net for Justin Fields in the limited amount of time that he's been playing with him. But the guy's been getting a lot of touches so far, and I do think that David Montgomery is going to continue to be a workhorse. We saw it last season that in games where they need to rely on him, they can give the guy the ball, and you can almost expect 100 yards from him. I like David Montgomery this weekend against the Lions, and I'm going to be starting him as a running back 1 if I've got him anywhere.
All right. That is a good pick. They honestly to get that offense going, they need to rely on the run. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, it's really nice to have Montgomery in there because we know he is a workhorse. And coming off of a couple bad weeks, I think he is due. So my running back start of the week is Nyheim Hines, baby. And you know why that is? That's because we just saw the almighty Peyton Barber gash the Dolphins. Dolphins have they've allowed the second most points to the running back. They have also allowed over 150 receiving yards to the running back as well, which is seventh most. So that is kind of that's why I'm going there. With Jonathan Taylor banged up, it could be a great play. So I love Nyheim Hines this week. I think he's going to be a solid running back option. He could even slip into that running mid running back 2 spot. And I think he's going to be a really, really good flex play at the very least.
Wow. I'm surprised. I like it. I like the flex play. I like your projection for him to have a great day because I'm actually going to be relying on him in one of my own games this week because I am lost a lot of depth, and I think he's a great replacement and someone that you can almost comfortably fit into a flex position with that upside. So I like that a lot. I'm going to give you guys the possible best receiver to play this week.
Second best.
No, that's best. So I'm going to be telling you guys that I really believe that our guy Jamar Chase, especially if T. Higgins continues to miss time this week, which he already missed practice on, he's completely ruled out. Even better. Love it that much more. Going up against Jacksonville this week, who's been allowing 40.5 points between the receivers playing against them. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to demolish them. I think Joe Burrow is looking for an opportunity to beat up on a team and pad some stats and look really good. And with Jacksonville's defense allowing as many 654 yards so far this season to passing, I think Joe Burrow's in line to put up another 300 against them. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jamar Chase is, has that huge breakout game that we're looking for so far. Last week, he looked really good, found himself in the end zone, and has a little bit of a comfortability with Burrow in the NFL so far. So I'm really excited to play him if I've got him. The worst part is I didn't draft him in any leagues because he didn't, he scared me, and I liked other people around him then.
Well, T. Higgins being out, I mean, it's really helped him out a lot. Honestly, John, I love the pick. I was actually going to take him, but unfortunately you took him from me. But I found a better receiver anyway to play, so I'm just kidding. But listen, love the play. I think Jamar Chase is actually going to have a very, 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 very good week, wide receiver 1 week. But listen to this. Trevor Lawrence gets his first W tomorrow against the Bengals, or tonight, I guess, against the Bengals. Bengals gonna bungle on Thursday Night Football in front of everybody. Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence are gonna get it done. But Jamar Chase still gonna have a great day.
I don't think so.
It's a hot take, baby. That's why they call it hot. All right.
Put
Jalen Waddle. Yeah. Huh? 5?
Yeah, why not?
10.
There you go.
All right. We put $10 on that. My wide receiver of the week is Jalen Waddle, coming off of a 13 target performance, including a reception, which ended up in a safety. No, for real. I mean, that is for real. But Jalen Waddle, I think, is Jalen Waddle
worst
is
play call I've ever seen in my life.
It wasn't his fault, okay?
It wasn't his fault.
The ball, he's only 5'9".
A screen pass Who calls a screen pass in the freaking 2-yard line? So where the receiver's catching it in the end zone.
We weren't even on the 2-yard line. We were on the half.
Exactly. The play is either going to, it could work and get us 3 to 5 yards, or it's a safety. Those are your two options.
Not with Jalen Waddle. I mean, it could go.
Oh, you're right. It could, or you get a safety.
Yeah, that's higher percentage chance. And
let's run that same play on the 10, and I'm a lot happier. But sorry, let's continue.
Yeah, let's get back to it. So, obviously, coming off of a massive target performance, I almost called him Jalen Waddle. Will Fuller is a little banged up. He did miss practice on Wednesday. And Jacoby Brissett, little revenge game here. I don't know. That's the narrative I'm putting out there. No, I think Jalen Waddle gets more involved. He even mentioned that he's going to be have more yards after contact. He was only averaging after catch, only averaging 4.1 yards after catch. So, and we all know what he can do in space. I think they work to get him open and get him the ball. I mean, we saw it, like I said, coming off of a freaking 13 target game, 12 catch game. Crazy. Jalen Waddle, I think, is going to have a breakout week this week.
I mean, you could question and say he almost broke out last week with the amount of targets that he was able to get. Obviously, Dolphins fan, he's my guy. I like him a lot. I'm excited for him. Hopefully, he continues to be the guy that we really need him to be. We just need a healthy quarterback that's not Jacoby Brissett. And hopefully it's Tua. So, moving on. Tight ends, guys. Everyone's favorite position in the fantasy football world. We're going to give you Logan Thomas, the must-start tight end of the week, and you're going to stack him with Taylor Heineke if you picked him up off the waivers, because that's just a really smart. Oh, it's not a stack, but just a really smart move to make. But I love them. I really love Logan Thomas this year. He's so far been an absolute monster. He's leading the tight end group in slot snaps at 108 so far, and 15.7% of the snap or the target percentage coming from Washington so far. Him and Terry McLaurin really seem to be the only people that they are comfortable throwing the ball to, which makes me very excited for him. He is someone that will be going up against the bum Atlanta Falcons, and I don't mean bum like they're injured. I mean bummed like they are not so great. He does have 3 red zone targets so far this season, which actually ranks him 5th, which does add to his touchdown upside, having 2 touchdowns in his last 3 games, meaning that he's, might be due for another one this week. So I'm definitely going to be taking the upside on Logan Thomas this week. And if you aren't, I would also recommend you, play against me in any fantasy football league that we have.
All right. Well, there's a good
play
chance.
Logan Thomas this week.
All right. And why isn't it a stack? Taylor Heineke and Logan Thomas play for the same team. That's a stack.
It is. I don't know. I don't like the tight end. I don't like really calling the tight end and Heineke or a tight end and a mediocre quarterback that could be great a stack. It's not like a Patrick Mahomes, Travis stack. Kelce.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah. There's only one Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce stack.
You're right. This is a watered down Travis. This is watered down Kelce Mahomes stack. Make sure you throw it in.
Yeah,
you got it cheap.
It's it's not even Walmart. It's like Kmart versions. Let's go to my tight end. Listen, people. And if he doesn't do it this week, if he does not do it this week, I'm just going to say, I told you so, John. That's all I'm going to say. Kyle Pitts going up against the Washington football team is going to have a breakout week. Listen, Olamide, we've been talking about a lot of rookies today. Olamide Zaccheaus had 6 targets last week, took away from Kyle Pitts. I don't think it happens again. They've got to start doing something in this offense. And this is a good week to do it against that Washington football team defense who has been underperforming, to say the least. I mean, Chase Young, what are you doing? You're making me look like a real fool. Anyways.
How many sacks does he have right now?
None.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough out there, but whatever. Like I said, it's a hot take for a reason. Yeah, if he only gets 10 sacks, though, I look like a real fool. But anyways, good matchup against the Washington football team. I think this week we actually see the Atlanta Falcons offense do a little bit of something. And they're in Atlanta. So, I mean, that hometown crowd is going to want to see something. But the Washington football team's pretty mediocre against the tight end. Not great, not bad. Bottom half of the league. So I think this is a good week for Kyle Pitts to come together. Olamide Zaccheaus is not going to get 6 targets again this week. We saw Kyle Pitts get 8 and 6 targets in week 1 and week 2. He just did not have that many targets this week. That's really all it came down to. So good week for Kyle Pitts. 2 weeks before his bye week. Good week for him to start, showing why he was a 4th round pick.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, we haven't been seeing the amount of passing attempts out of Matt Ryan that we were used to seeing in most seasons. He's been throwing the ball about 50 times a game prior and hasn't even eclipsed that 40 mark other than in week 2. And last week, he was just spreading the ball out. We do know Cordell Patterson, who was a waiver pickup a couple weeks ago, started getting a lot of targets. Last week got 7. So I like Kyle Pitts a lot. I was really hot on him coming into the year. I'm hesitant on him, but I still obviously see that huge upside because he's only 1 game away from being a breakout star. And so you got to throw him in there every week, especially on a good matchup.
He's right now, even after that 3 target week, he's on track for 96 targets.
Which isn't bad. If
no,
you
it's
can
very
catch
good.
the ball and get some yards behind them, we'll talk about it a lot differently. But I think he's right on the cusp of finally breaking into that mold. So let's jump into the sits really quick. We'll go through these, a little bit quicker. And you do know who my sit is, Mike. And you already brought him up. It's going to be Ryan Tannehill. He has not been looking amazing this year. He did have a semi-decent game in week 2, but Derrick Henry's been really running that ball and that offense. But part of the reason that we're going to be sitting on this week it's a weird thing to say, but it's the Jets. A lot so far this season, they are ranked 3rd in points allowed to the quarterback, giving up only 12.77 points on average. You saw Teddy Bridgewater still go in there and dominate the game outright, but wasn't able to put up fantasy points because they were running the ball in, and the quarterback doesn't get a lot for that. Ryan Tannehill is a great quarterback. He might have some great plays. They are probably going to win the game. No problem at all. But Derrick Henry's probably going to be getting all of those touchdowns. That would be my biggest guess in a majority of those yards. I just don't see any reason for Ryan Tannehill to be going out there and chucking it deep. So,
well, I mean, Julio and A.J. Brown missed practice, and it's not looking good for them to play.
Julio always misses practice. What's his
No, but this is like legit. Like,
oh,
he has a what is it? Both of them have hamstring issues, soft tissue issues. So wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Ryan Tannehill said today that he does not, or yesterday, I guess, if you're watching it, he does not, doesn't care who's on the field. Whoever's out there on the field, he has the utmost confidence for. So with a question like that, it's kind of in my opinion, it's looking like neither of them are going to play. At least one of them's going to miss. So that will be one of them off. So great pick. Great pick, John. Derek Carr is
waiver in for Chester Rogers. Thanks for that.
Chester Rogers. What about Nick Westbrook-Ikeen?
Nah.
Chester Rogers. Yeah, maybe. I don't think I'm playing any of them. It's going to be a Derrick Henry day. Derek Carr. John, Derek Carr or Dak Prescott? Who's more talented? Who's a better quarterback?
Dak Prescott.
CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, or Henry Ruggs and Bryan Edwards?
Is this a trick question? I'm gonna go Henry Ruggs and Bryan Edwards.
All right, you're a fool.
Okay, now where are you going with this?
Dak Prescott only put up 7.48 points against the Los Angeles Chargers defense. They have allowed the 6th least points to the quarterback. Derek Carr and his hot run is going to come to an end this week, is what I'm getting at. Derek Carr is my sit of the week. Yes.
I didn't know you didn't know that's where it was headed. I like it though. I like it. Kind of weird with this feeling of Derek Carr sitting at the top of the NFL leaders in passing yards. So maybe we finally can see that normalize a little bit, knock him down a little bit. I like it. Wish for his demise. I see where you're going with this, Mike. I'm on board. I'm on board.
Derwin James, I mean, he's playing.
Yeah.
Baller.
I mean,
that defense is pretty good. I mean, they got the pass
great
rush.
against the looked great against the Chiefs last week.
Yeah, that too.
So following up with me, going over to my running back sit of the week. Excuse me. I'm going to be saying that you need to be sitting Melvin Gordon.
Ooh.
Not the sauciest pick out of all of them, but I do think that Melvin Gordon is someone that is going to probably be an incredible bust this week. Again, going up against the Jets. Oh, sorry. Not going against the Jets. They just went against the Jets last week. And even going against the Jets last week, we saw Javonte Williams take over a larger share of that backfield. So I'm a little concerned. Yeah, I'm a little concerned to see what he does against a real NFL defense this week, and what we can expect from him. I really have been on Melvin Gordon's train, but it's that point where we start stepping off, going to that other guy we drafted a little bit ahead of him that we were waiting for, maybe Javonte Williams in his own. But I do think that Melvin Gordon starts seeing a little bit of a downtick. And then against this defense, it's only been allowing 28.3 fantasy points to the running back, which is actually pretty high so far this year. I just don't think that Denver is going to be keeping up with that defense, with that offense at a point to where they're going to need to run the ball. And I think it's going to turn into Teddy Bridgewater having to air it out for a majority of the game. So I'm going to be saying if you got Melvin Gordon, it might be trade or cut time for him.
All right. Well, my running back sit of the week is going to be Damian Harris. Playing against Tampa Bay Bucks, coming off of a loss, even though it's in Foxborough. First of all, that defensive line is disgusting, and I know that the Patriots' offensive line is very good as well. However, listen, Tom Brady going back to Foxborough. This is the worst time for this game to happen. Tom Brady's coming off of a loss. That's not good. He is going
to a young quarterback too.
Yes.
No.
So in my opinion, this game's going to get out of hand. There's already a little bit of stuff coming out about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, how Tom Brady didn't really want to play with Bill Belichick since 2017 and blah, 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 blah. All that's good drama. So great to hype the game up, but to be honest, Tom Brady coming off of a loss with a chip on his shoulder against this defense that he knows. I mean, he used to practice against them for 20 years. So not the same players, but, Bill Belichick's defense. So anyways, Damien Harris, it's not going to be Damien Harris time. First of all, he only got six rushes, 6 attempts last week anyway. But 2, they're going to have to pass the ball in order to keep up with this offense.
Yeah, I'm getting hesitant on New England's entire team at this point. They kind of remind me of old New England, where you can't guess on who's going to be relevant, and there's so many players that it could go to that you're starting to fade the entire team in general.
I kind of like Jacoby Myers.
I still can't see it. So moving over to wide receivers, another team that I'm starting to want to fade, only in the receiver category heavily, though, is Devonta Smith and the Eagles. Going up against the Kansas City Chiefs this week, I am not excited if I've got Devonta Smith in my roster, and that's because they've given up the least amount of points to the receivers so far this season, given up 22.03, averaging that over the last 3 games. It's 294 yards on the season, and I just don't see Jalen Hurts being able to keep Devonta Smith fantasy relevant outside of it being a touchdown dependent game. The only time we've seen Devonta Smith have a solid game was against the worst defense in the league in Atlanta on week 1. And the only reason we want to say that was a solid game is because he got that touchdown, which is 30 something yards. I'm not playing Devonta Smith. His targets have been there every week. It's not like he's catching them for big chunks. He's dropping a lot of passes. Jalen Hurts is throwing fairly decently, but not amazingly. So I'm just not going to be taking the shot on Devonta Smith. He's a trade candidate for me if you're in a redraft league. See what you can get, because I think we're just going to keep seeing bum weeks.
All right. Allen Robinson is my sit of the week for the wide receiver position. This hurts. Listen, he had 11 targets in in week 1. Outside of that, he's had 10 combined the last 2 weeks. Going up against the Detroit Lions, yes, it's a nice matchup. It really is. I mean, right currently, as it sits, the Detroit Lions are in the top half of the league against the wide receivers, which is a good thing. However, it's kind of skewed because if you guys don't remember, Marquise Brown had 3 touchdowns that he dropped that would have definitely skewed this defense back into the bottom half of the league against the wide receiver as far as fantasy points go. Listen, with the uncertainty at quarterback and the sneaky decentness, I think the Detroit Lions are the best worst team in the NFL. They put up a fight against the Baltimore Ravens, and
they're a good team. They're a good team.
They're the best.
You said best
team.
Worst. No,
yeah, they are.
I feel like that means they're a bottom 5 team if you say best worst.
They are. They're definitely a bottom 5 team. But they're scrappy as hell, and they'll take you down to the wire. So until they win a game,
over the Colts right now.
Yeah, the Colts are a very bad team. I don't know. It's pretty close. Pretty close.
Lions over the Falcons.
Yeah, I would too.
Lions over the Jets. Well, we're going to 5 teams really quick.
Yeah. No, we're not, because we don't have time for that.
Time for everything.
No, we don't. Anyways, Detroit Lions, sneaky good, but Allen Robinson with the quarterback situation. I'm sorry. It's time to bench him. It's time to bench him.
Yeah, we didn't do our tilt or not to tilt episode this week. I'm going to agree with you because one of my questions to you is going to be, how are you feeling about the Bears receiving core right now, including Darnell Mooney? And I was going to tell you I'm tilting extremely hard and have benched both of them. Moving over to the streams of the week, though, let's jump into the quarterback. Make it quick. We got Sam Darnold. Obviously, don't need much of an introduction so far. Last week, we saw him get 2 rushing touchdowns. The week before that, we saw him get 2 passing touchdowns. The man's blowing up the stat board with 888 yards on the season so far passing. Going up against Dallas, we know it's going to be a big game. We've seen what happens when Dallas plays other teams. The teams respond in a shootout fashion. I'm excited. I think we see Sam Darnold continue to put up a lot of stats. My biggest concern is that we see DJ Moore locked down by Trayvon Diggs, and that means it might be a Robbie Anderson day. And I told you guys not to draft Robbie Anderson, but it might be a day to play with Robbie Anderson. He's only owned in 15% of leagues, so that means he's readily available, but make sure you guys put in those waiver bids if you haven't already, if your waivers run late, because he's someone that a lot of people are starting to grab because he's been performing so well.
All right. I like it. Mike Gesicki, you are my sit of the week. Yes, I know he has increased in targets the past couple weeks, but going up a very stout linebacking core of the Indianapolis Colts. Plus, like I said, I think it's gonna be a Jalen Waddle week. I don't trust him. I think a lot of people are gonna get burned by him this week because coming off that big game he had.
Ooh, hometown hater.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I can't be biased.
Yeah, you can. A little bit's not hard, but way to show your true self. Just being a true, honest man. I appreciate that a lot.
You're welcome.
If you guys are desperate for a running back this week, look through the news as we get closer to the week. See how the running back group's looking. Mike said not to play Damian Harris, but I do think you can play J.J. Taylor if he does take over that James White role. Obviously, you're not playing Damian Harris because of the defensive line in Tampa is absolutely outstanding and amazing, and they're going to stuff that line very well. But we do know that New England's a very good job at creating plays, especially against when Bill Belichick's going up against Tom Brady this week. You better believe he's been concocting plays for the past year and a half. You got to know it. He's got some stuff we've never seen. This is his his swan song. This is literally what if he wins this week, the guy's retiring. He's like, all right, we're done. I did it.
This team sucks. I'm out.
So I don't think Damian Harris is going to be able to really show a lot of production this week. I do think J.J. Taylor is someone that's going to be able to keep the ball bouncing outside in the pass, using the pass catching back roll. And I do think the Patriots' game plan here is to just slow the clock down and make it a boring game and just take the energy away from Tampa. Hopefully they can get destroyed by Tampa. I'd love to see it. But I do think J.J. Taylor is a very, very risky flex option for you if you are desperate and you've been plagued by injuries so far this season.
All right. It's worrisome to me, but you're scrapping out there on the waivers if you're streaming running backs. We looked hard, and we try to keep it under 50%. It is rough out there. It's rough out on these streets. My guy is not even under 50%. He's 50.6%.
Cheater.
So
it's okay. I understand.
I am a cheater, but it was a lot. He's out there a lot. Listen, J.D. McKissic going up against the Atlanta Falcons. It should be somewhat of a good game. I mean, as far as offense goes. He didn't get a ton of targets last week, but I think he sees an increase in targets. It's kind of up and down, ebbs and flows. And to be honest, this week, I think we see one of those weeks with J.D. McKissic getting the catches out of the backfield. The Atlanta Falcons have also allowed the 9th most receiving yards to the running back position. And so, yeah, I mean, and they've also allowed the 8th most, or also the 9th most, receptions to the running back position. So I think it's going to be a nice J.D. McKissic week. He'll be usable. I think he gets like close to that 8 to 10 point range in a half PPR league.
Okay, I like it. Coming in for a receiver for you guys. We know I said, hey, it's going to be a bad week for the Jets passing it. For the Broncos this week, going up against the brain fart. Just talked about
Baltimore Ravens.
There we go. Going up against the Ravens, that would explain as I'm looking at their schedule in front of me at the second. But I'm going to say that you guys can stream Tim Patrick this week with Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler out indefinitely on the IR. We are looking at Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton to be taking over the roles there in Denver completely. Something I love about Tim Patrick is he's not someone that you need a lot of targets to do a lot with. He's got a 93 catch percentage at the moment. He's only had one incompletion out of the 13 passes thrown his way. And last week, without getting in the end zone, he still put up 98 yards, put up 14.3 points in a full point PPR league. You got to go with the man that gets consistency. And I do think that Teddy's going to be in a situation where they're going to be moving the ball through the air downfield, trying to at least make the game a fun one to watch. So I think that Tim Patrick's big body at 6'4" is going to be able to stay very relevant this week, slotting in as a very consistent option. And at the very least, he is definitely a waiver wire ad. If he's available on your waivers and you can stream him, he's definitely a benchable player or a rosterable player. Currently wide receiver 30 in PPR and wide receiver 24 in standard.
Yeah, he's actually a really good standard option. I know somebody mentioned to us that we need to talk a little bit more about standard, and Tim Patrick, very good standard wide receiver. I actually spent a good amount of chunk of my change on him. I really needed a flex option, and he is one of my favorites this week. I'm going to go back to my quarterback because we didn't do quarterbacks. Matt Ryan, going up against that Washington football defense, who has allowed the most points to the quarterback position. I like him this week. Like I said, that defense has been underperforming, and Matt Ryan, I think, has a good week, bounces back, and is usable fantasy-wise this week if you need a streamer.
Okay. I gave my quarterback. Mine was Sam Darnold.
Oh, you did? I didn't give mine.
I don't know. I actually don't remember. We can watch this back after and see how that happened. Hey, if you guys heard Matt Ryan twice, awesome. If I didn't say it the first time, Sam Darnold against Dallas. Everyone's been showing out. A little afraid about DJ Moore this week. Might tell you guys go Robbie Anderson instead. But Sam Darnold is definitely must start, and grabbing him as a streamer is a great thing.
All right,
going over to my tight end, though. Oh, I don't know.
Do
you
my
need
wide
to be
receiver.
your receiver.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you ruined our whole flow.
I know. That was my fault. So it's not going to be Robbie Anderson, and it's not going to be DJ Moore. It's going to be Terrace Marshall. Terrace Marshall is my streaming option of the week. I think he has a very good week. He's seen week 2, he's down on 3 targets, but he saw 6 in week 1, 5 in week 2. Listen, if DJ Moore gets that Trayvon Diggs treatment, we have not seen a connection between Robbie Anderson and Sam Darnold. Terrace Marshall and Sam Darnold have been a little bit more on together. when he does get the ball. So I could see it being Trayvon Diggs on DJ Moore, which slows DJ Moore down. And then Robbie Anderson takes the top off that defense, and Terrace Marshall is there and sees about 6 catches this week.
All right.
I love it. He's only owned in 15% of leagues.
Yeah, he's very readily available. I like it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty happy with it.
He's gonna be.
If you
telling you, he's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, I think he's going to be one of the better receivers out of this draft class. But if you guys are looking to stream a tight end this week because of dire straits, I'm going to recommend some floor option for you, and that's going to be Dawson Knox. Obviously, we've been seeing him be semi-consistent in that offense in Buffalo. There, I am having a lot of brain farts today. Being the tight end in Buffalo there, last week went for five targets, 4 catches for 49 yards. Second week in a row, he was able to find the end zone there. So I do think that him and Josh Allen do have a great connection. We saw it starting to build last season, and especially in the offseason. But I do think that Dawson Knox is someone that, at the very least, will give you that comfortable 8 to 10 points from a tight end. If not, man might even have a huge play.
All right.
He is readily available at 11.5% owned in leagues currently. So pick him up if you have to.
There we go. My tight end stream of the week is going to be Pat Freiermuth. Juju Smith-Schuster's out, or not out. He missed practice again on Wednesday. Deontay Johnson is back. And then, of course, we have Chase Claypool there. But to be honest, he's only owned in 4.9%. He's got good upside to get in the end zone. That's really where he's going to make his bread and butter. He's not getting targeted too heavily. I mean, he saw 5 and 4 the past 2 weeks. Big Ben and him do have a little bit of connection, and Eric Ebron is like no longer in the picture. I don't know what happened to him. He's just done. His
career came and went.
Yeah, he might have pulled a Vontae Davis and just retired halfway through one of the last games. We not even realized it. But yeah, Pat Freiermuth, I think, is a fine streaming option at the tight end spot. It's really just touchdown upside. And to be honest, we talk about it every week. That's the tight end spot. If they get in the end zone, we're going to talk about them moving forward or the next week. And, that's really all that matters is them getting in whoever gets in the end zone the next week, we're going to be talking about it throughout the whole fantasy community.
Especially Juju not being there, Deontay not being there this week. Someone's going to be getting those red zone targets.
Well, Deontay is back at practice.
Oh, thank God.
But I still think Deontay, or I still think Pat Freiermuth has that touchdown upside.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to give you guys my defense of the week, and I'm not going to make it very hard. Mike might actually disagree with me because he's taken the other team to win the game. I got the Bengals versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Their defense currently owned in 41.9% of leagues. And obviously we know that so far Trevor Lawrence has had some issues with turnovers. They have had some issues throwing the ball. They have issues running the ball. They have issues getting into the end zone, and they have issues
playing football.
They've given up 5 sacks so far this season. They've given up 2 fumbles, and the man has thrown 7 interceptions so far. Expect Cincinnati to take advantage of that. Their pass rush got a lot better this offseason. Their defense is semi good. They went from a bad defense to good, and I just don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to have an amazing day against them. And I think at best we see some Thursday night slump where the team's just not playing at full speed because of this short week. And it might just be a low scoring game. So take advantage of that in 41.9% of your leagues. I do think Cincinnati has a chance to be a top 5 defense this week.
Yeah. So my only concern, I like it. I really, obviously they're going to get turnovers. That's just, Trevor Lawrence is going to throw a couple picks, and that's going to be great. As long as they can hold their scoring down, they should be a very good play this week. Jesse Bates, their best safety and one of the top safeties in the league, is actually out this week, unfortunately. So that will hurt them on the secondary. But I do like that play. So my streaming defense of the week is Green Bay going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Listen, we have not seen a good performance out of the Pittsburgh Steelers so far. Did you see that highly athletic play by Ben Roethlisberger on Twitter where he tripped over himself?
No.
Well, it's really
no,
funny.
No.
You got to check it out. I'll send it to you. So maybe I'll retweet it on our Twitter page. Check it out at the Fantasy tab.
There you go.
So yes, Green Bay playing against the Steelers. They just have not scored points. The offense is averaging 14.3 points a game. And the Green Bay Packers have gotten 2 turnovers the last 2 games each. And they also had 4 sacks last week. So bad offensive line of the Steelers, bad offense in general. Big Ben not being himself. I mean, it should be a pretty solid week. He threw 2 picks last week and a pick the week before. Plus he's had 2 fumbles already this season. So Green Bay, I like him as a nice sleeper defense, and they're only owned in 16.9% of leagues.
I like him. I think that's going to be a solid game this week. So I wouldn't say not to take it. So I'm going to grab it.
All right.
16.9 is very, very readily available for you. So let's jump into this Thursday night breakdown. I want to go over, the slight against the Bengals that you're throwing out there for the Jags, just because we're missing out on Jesse Bates now. It's going to be it's going to be a slap fest.
Timeout. Hold on. I didn't say that they weren't going to be fantasy relevant, and I didn't say that the defense was going to be bad. I just said
I meant straight up wins. I wasn't even meaning fantasy.
All right.
We got. All right.
Let's hear it.
So
let's hear it.
We've got the Bengals going up against obviously one of the worst teams in the league, Jacksonville. And I think it's going to be great. They still do have a lot of depth on their defense, including a lot of safety depth, corner depth, and even some young depth on their linebacking core that can go into coverage. So I think they're going to be fine. I don't think that they're going up against a team that's going to take out and expose them. As far as fantasy options go, though, I do think that we're looking at a great day for both teams to have some players that really break out. Me and Mike both agree, Jamar Chase is someone that I'm really looking forward to this week. I think he's going to be one of the top 10 receivers on the week. And I do also think that Tyler Boyd's someone that can fit that wide receiver 3, if not a flex option for you. How are you feeling about Joe Mixon so far, though, even against Jacksonville?
Joe Mixon, he's getting the touches. I'm going to ride with him. He's gotten 18 or more rushing attempts each week so far, plus sprinkled in a little bit of passing game or receiving game. I am fine with him. He's only had 1 week where he's averaged less than 4 yards a carry. That was against the Chicago defense. So the Chicago defensive line, their defense as a whole is not that great, but their defensive line is pretty stout, especially going up against that trash Cincinnati Bengals offensive line. So, and then last week he went up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then the week before that, he went up against the Minnesota Vikings. So it hasn't been the easiest we talked about it going into the season. The Bengals offensive line, Penei Sewell or Jamar Chase. Obviously, they went Jamar Chase, and this is what we're stuck with. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with Joe Mixon this week. I think he's going to be fine. I like to see volume. More opportunity equals more opportunity to score more fantasy points. So I'm going with it. I'm rolling with him.
Hell of an equation there. I like it a lot. Opportunity equals opportunity equals opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah, even on 74% of those snaps last week, he still got those 18 carries. I like him this week. I think that they take an early lead. I think they cruise on through the day, and we see Jacksonville just get demolished. And I think Joe Mixon cracks into those 20 carries again on the week. So you can expect at least 70 yards from him on the week. So I'm very happy to say that. How about James Robinson? He is someone that you said I said I was giving one. I said I was done with him, but I still gave him a chance. Slightly. I don't think I said it out loud until Sunday on the live stream. But going up against Arizona last week, 15 carries, 88 yards, got a touchdown, got his 6 passes, almost 50 yards receiving. Are you comfortable with him again?
I'm playing him. I'm not comfortable with him, but I said at the beginning of the year, John. I said at the beginning, the first 2 weeks, or the first week especially, Carlos Hyde. I did not like the way. I did not like that he was on the field as much as he was. Yes, he was on 34% of the time, and he had 8 rushes last week, but he didn't get the passing work. I think Urban Meyer is finally starting to see, hey, maybe I should use this running back who put up 1,400 total yards last year. So yes, I'm okay with it. I like James Robinson. He wasn't on the field as much, but he did get more touches. So I'm okay with him being that running back 2 flex option this week. Preferably a flex option if possible. But if you need a running back 2 spot, that's fine. I'll use James Robinson.
Yeah, I was going to mention, like you said, his lowest snap percentage on the season so far, but also the most amount of touches he's had in the game, touching the ball 21 times. So it's another great thing you like to see there. And then let's jump into the quarterbacks. We got Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow. Trevor Lawrence currently QB 28 on the season, going up against the Bengals. So not a tough matchup, but obviously someone that isn't just going to give up 3 points. And then you got Joe Burrow, currently quarterback 19 on the year, going against Jacksonville, who is a team that's going to give up 3 points and not a tough matchup. I'm not trying to give you the obvious answer here, but out of the two of them.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go Joe Burrow.
Okay.
I think he puts up similar nice 20, 22, 23-point game. Nothing, crazy spectacular. Obviously, he's got that upside with Jamar Chase there. But like you said, I think they might get out to a lead. And if they do, they're just going to use Joe Mixon to kind of kill the game. So Joe Burrow is fine. As like that, a mid to high end, quarterback too, depending upon how the rest of the week plays out and all the quarterbacks. So I mean, I think he's a solid play, especially being the fact that, I mean, him and Jamar Chase are just clicking.
Yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase, 4 touchdowns in 3 games. So that's been absolutely great. Let's stay on the Bengals receivers really fast, though. Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd. Jamar Chase, I'm saying wide receiver 1 this week. So obviously, I'm comfortable playing him in any of my wide receiver slots as long as he's on my team. Tyler Boyd, though, and I know you agree with me on Chase, so I don't mean to just get past him. But Tyler Boyd, though, what are you feeling about Tyler Boyd, especially the fact that it's just going to be him and Chase again? Last week, Boyd was still able to get 6 targets against the Pittsburgh defense and that touchdown.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, my only concern with Jamar Chase is Shaquille Griffin. He's been pretty good against the wide receiver. I still think he's fine with that, though. Tyler Boyd, like you said earlier, wide receiver 3 flex option. I think he's going to be fine.
All righty. Okay.
And then Trevor Lawrence, real quick. I just want to mention him. He's going to be a mid to low end 2. I mean, low end 2, maybe against his defense. So, not really looking at him.
All right. So I know both of us aren't really hot on any of the tight ends out of this game. So let's just jump into the Jaguars receivers and close this game up really quick. I'm actually really surprised, and I think we called it about 5 weeks before the start of draft season for fantasy football. But Marvin Jones, a incredible waiver wire or late round grab during draft time, possibly hit waivers early in the season. Currently wide receiver 20 in both standard and PPR. Both games has had 6 catches or 5 or more catches for 50 or more yards and was able to score a touchdown in 2 of them. Is he the team's number 1 receiver?
Yes.
Absolutely. No questions asked.
Look at the targets. 28 targets. Everybody else, nothing. I mean, we had 1 week, one very, very solid week for LaVisca and DJ Chark. Outside of that, it's not been great. And they haven't been connecting. I mean, Marvin Jones has caught the balls,
Yeah.
Which is important in fantasy football.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't get points without that. It actually gives you points in some types to catch the ball. Yeah. So LaVisca, though, he has been missing. He missed time in week 2 and missed time in week 3. Both of them left the game a little bit early due to an injury, and then came back a little bit later. Had some drop passes against Denver in week 2. Is it Trevor or is it LaVisca? Are we waiting for that connection to build, or is Marvin Jones going to be the team's number 1 receiver throughout the rest of the season? And why? 6 paragraphs.
No.
12-point font. Okay.
No. So, okay, that neither of those are the issue. Urban Meyer's the issue.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's not an NFL coach at the end of the day, but I think Marvin Jones, I mean, we said it coming into the season. Marvin Jones is a veteran who is reliable. And Laviska is still trying to make a name for himself, has been up and down as far as health goes. And DJ Chark just hasn't really, lived up to expectations. So plus it's been a rough start for Trevor Lawrence. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think you just stick to the reliable vet. I mean, of course there's going to be points, but that I think Laviska and DJ Chark, have their weeks, but I don't think it's this week. I tend to stay away from Thursday night games unless it's a lock.
Unless it's a lock, really.
Yeah, I don't like playing. It kind of sounds weird. I don't like playing upside players on Thursday night, short weeks and things like that. It's just a thing for me. I mean, I know it's a weird thing, but typically on Thursday nights, we see 2 players ball out and that's it. You see a quarterback and maybe like a running back or a wide receiver, unless it's like
I mean, I know that historically that's been the trend, but so far this year that it seems that the Thursday night games have been rather enticing and surprising, especially last week. I mean, we saw a great Thursday night game between Carolina and Houston. I mean, to your point, correct though. I mean, we saw a wide receiver and one quarterback out of both teams are the only real fantasy relevant ones. Sam Darnold, Davis Mills wasn't even a quarterback that was relevant that week. Week before that, the Washington Giants game. I mean, we saw
that was
Gibson,
a good game.
McLaurin, and then obviously the first one, which I really don't think should count if I'm trying to make a point against this, was Tampa, and then obviously the Bucks, where we saw, I'd like to say at least 6 fantasy relevant, high-end fantasy relevant players that week.
Half the players that week.
So I feel like, that has been the trend, and that's been something that a lot of people have talked about so far this year is like, is that rule still apply this year? And I'd like to say no until proven otherwise. But it's possible that as the weeks drag on and players start getting more tired throughout, when it's week 8, week 9, as we get towards week 17, I mean, those Thursday night games, if they're not an important one, become less enticing to just ball out.
Yeah.
So I can see your point.
So, and I mean, I might be wrong. That's kind of the vibe I get every year, especially like you said, especially as the season goes on, it gets harder and harder for me to play players unless it's like a must start person to, in those Thursday night slots. So,
yeah,
it's a personal thing too. I mean, it's weird. It's worked for me sometimes. Sometimes it bites me in the ass though, but that's fantasy. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, like John said, no tight ends. And then we talked about the defense. Obviously, we're not playing the Jaguars defense. No. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit that like button. Also join the Discord. That would be great. Also tell a friend. 4 things. That's what you got to do. And John, you have any last words? That was morbid. That was very morbid. John, do you have any last words for the viewers? Do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah. You like our guy Ryan H that's been on our YouTube, letting all of his friends know how great he enjoys our videos. Tell your friends, let them know, become one of our good friends and be our fans. We do have that Discord, which is a great way to connect with both me and Mike. And we do have other people in there who are great people that'll help you. And honestly, a lot of the guys are really smart when it comes to fantasy and come with their own unique stats, takes, and other looks at the game that can help you fill it in. And it's a great place where you can just upload your team. Questions become really easy. So just want to say thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining us. And make sure to look out for the rest of the videos as we approach the end of the week here.
All right, people. We will see you later.
Bye.